Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us his truth. Salutations to the sincere Akim and Aquath having listened. May the blessing of election be over your house. My name is Brother Akwai. I'm back in here with another quick lesson, and for today's lesson is going to be the word piety, and going into the story of Saul's grandson Mephibosheth, right? So one of the elder brothers in my camp had done a spiritual extrapolation of Tobit chapter 12, and I was meditating on a couple of precepts, and I thought Yahweh I would put together this lesson, and it, Lord willing, it be edifying, right? So without further ado, let's get to the word piety and what that means. So piety in the etymology, and it reads the following: mercy, tenderness, pity, faith, pity, compassion, dutiful conduct, sense of duty, religiousness, loyalty, patriotism, faithfulness to natural ties. And below here, this is one I wanted to get. It says faith and in reverence for a supreme being. Right, so coming out of the world, we learn to put off the ways of the old man and to renew this new man and to constantly build on this new man, right? And it's modeled after our greatest and big brother Yahweh Shai, right? Because he left us an example of how to actually conduct ourselves, right? And during these times, right? This is why a lot of our people in the world look at us very I guess with peculiarity, because pursuant to Ecclesiastes chapter 8 verse 1, it says, a man's wisdom maketh his face to shine, right? And it shows in the way that we carry ourselves, and we carry what's the word, we deal with each other, and we deal with the brethren, and so on and so forth. And people notice those things, right? Right. And one of the things one of the most important things that we learn is the importance of prophecy. But another thing I wanted to touch on quickly as well, one of the things that we actually share and actually encourage our people on the highways and byways to do is to repent, and as well as to change your ways, because a lot of the ways that we were in the world were not beneficial towards the Heavenly Father, right? We become degenerates. But just a quick precept in regards to being on the highways and byways and the importance of reforming ourselves, right? This is Isaiah chapter 55 verse 1, and it reads, "Ho, everyone that thirsteth, come ye to the waters, and he that hath no money, come ye buy and eat. Yea, come buy wine and milk without money and without price." So when we're out there, we don't actually charge for these things, right? Like it says in Matthew chapter 10, it says that freely ye have received, we freely give. Verse 2, and this reads, "Wherefore do ye spend money that for which is not bread?" Right? So a lot of our people go to these churches and give donations and serve soup and give their time and all these different things towards congregation, and they don't actually receive some substance. They don't actually receive spiritual understanding to actually be able to guide our people, so they hopes that they will receive mercy in times of destruction, right? So and I'm speaking mostly to the Israelites in these various different religions and congregations, right? Verse 2, it reads quickly, "Wherefore do ye spend money for which is not bread, and your labor which satisfieth not? Hearken diligent unto me." So that's important. We have to hearken diligently unto the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, "and eat ye that which is good, and let your soul delight in fatness." right? So, through gathering this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, we learn to adopt this, we learn to take on, the character of Yahushua, right? And we learn to fear the Heavenly Father as well, right? So let's get the story. Just bear with me 1 second. So this is 2 Samuel chapter 9. I want to start at verse 1, and I'm going to interject, here and there. Right? So, verse 1, and it reads, I want to read it in the NLT, so just bear with me. One day, David asked, is anyone in Saul's family still alive? Anyone whom I can show kindness for Jonathan's sake? He summoned a man named Ziba, who had been one of Saul's servants. Are you Ziba? The king asked. Yes, sir, I am, Ziba replied. The king then asked him, is anyone still alive from Saul's family? If so, I want to show the Most High Yahweh's kindness to them. Ziba replied, yes, one of Jonathan's sons is still alive. He is crippled in both feet, right? So in the KJV, it says that he's lame. So when you see that word lame, it generally means that somebody is, they have a physical deficiency, right? Kind of like how today we see people in wheelchairs, or they're what's that word called? They're paraplegic, I think the word is, right? So just a little context. So, David, goes to see, this, he's looking for this individual who's left of Saul's house, right? So this is after the passing of Saul and Jonathan, right? So, and when you read before in 1 Samuel, there was a lot of animosity that Saul had towards David, right? Ever since he slayed Goliath, there was a lot of jealousy. He had evil spirits on him. There was a chapter where he also even threw some javelins at him as well. So he was, he was under real hell under Saul, right? When you go through the books of 1 Samuel, and David's introduction comes in at the 16th chapter up until I think the last chapter, right? So this is after all this, right? So just to keep all those things in mind as I'm reading, right? Further on it reads, yes, one of Jonathan's sons is still alive. He is crippled in both feet. Where is he? The king asked. In Lo-debar, Ziba told him, at home of Machir, son of Amiel. So David sent for him and brought him from Machir's home. His name was Mephibosheth. He was Jonathan's son and Saul's grandson. When he came to David, he bowed low to the ground in deep respect. David said, greetings, Mephibosheth. Mephibosheth replied, I am your servant. Don't be afraid, David said. I intend to show kindness to you because of my promise to your father Jonathan. I will give you all the property that once belonged to your grandfather Saul, and you will eat here with me at the king's table. So, this is very interesting because, here the king comes in and he's looking for you, and Mephibosheth, he kind of like, out of deep respect, he shows, he humbles himself essentially, right? And what's very, very interesting about this, despite all the things that his grandfather had done towards King David, right? King David still, he held that promise, and he didn't get carnal, right? As a matter of fact, because there's anything in like so-called black culture that perpetuates, especially in the media, When one man steps on like your sneakers, they call it, in this TV show called Boondocks, they call it like a nigga moment, right? And that is the complete opposite of what David actually exemplified towards Mephibosheth, right? That a man would walk, you can walk by another Israelite man, they step on your shoes, and then they're ready to pull up, throw up fist, and they get so heated in their emotions, and they're ready to fight and even kill each other, right? Which is crazy. Which is so it just goes to show how far we are gone as a people, right? So let me just get a quick precept. This is Ephesians 4 verse 26, and it reads, "Be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath, neither give place to the devil," right? So this is just very I wanted to bring this out because David in this situation could have been heated and shown his anger, but he didn't do that, right? He didn't give a place for for Satan to come in and essentially you'll get carnal, right? It says the wages of sin is death, right? So Saul, not Saul, Salakia, David was still in the spirit, and he kept his word and his integrity and his promise towards Jonathan, right? And he extended that kindness, that piety, like I'm bringing out, towards Mephibosheth, right? So verse 8, and it reads the following: Mephibosheth bowed respectfully and exclaimed, "Who is your servant that you should show such kindness to a dead dog like me?" So he's in a very, very, humble spirit. Then the king summoned Saul's servant Ziba and said, "I have given your master's grandson everything that belonged to Saul and his family. You and your sons and servants are to farm the land for him to produce food for the master's household. But Mephibosheth, your master's grandson, will eat here at my table." Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants. Wow. Verse 11, and it reads, Ziba replied, "Yes, my lord. Yes, my lord, the king, I am your servant, and I will do all that you have commanded." And from that time on, Mephibosheth ate regularly at David's table like one of the king's own sons, right? So David didn't treat him as somebody as garbage. He didn't treat him like that, right? And that is a level of tenderness and care that we do not have as a people at all. That is, black culture is completely destroyed the minds of our people, and there's too much animosity. There's too, that when it really says in the curses, the eyes should be evil towards each other, that still applies to our people today, right? We do not have that love and care towards one another, right? As a matter of fact, let's get Psalms, because that unity is not there. Okay, this is Psalms 133 verse 1. It says, "Behold how good and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity," right? And the only person who can actually bring this unity is Yahushai, right? And that all that animosity between the tribes, between Judah and Ephraim, all of that is all of that is going to fade away, once Yahushai returns, right? But now, for the way we are as a people, we do not exemplify this tenderness, this mercy, or any sort of unity at all, right? That unity really and truly now starts with the elect, right? Verse 12. Mephibosheth had a young son named Micah. From then on, all the members of the Ziba's household were Mephibosheth's servants, and Mephibosheth, who was crippled in both feet, lived in Jerusalem and ate regularly at the king's table. Right? So despite everything that his grandfather did, David still held his commitment to actually, be and show that kindness towards him, right? So let's get a couple precepts. Okay, this is Psalms 125, verse 3, and it reads, "For the rod of the wicked shall not rest upon the lot of the righteous, lest the righteous put forth their hands to iniquity. Do good, O Lord Yahweh, unto those that be good, and to them that are upright in their hearts," right? And what makes us upright in our hearts is the fact that we have that healthy dose of fear for the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, right? For as for such as turn aside unto their crooked ways, the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai shall lead them forth in the workers of iniquity, but peace shall be upon Israel, right? So, 2/3 of our people are in a life of complete iniquity and heaping sin upon sin, right? So when you hear about stories, for example, a lot of these rappers, for example, rap culture is a very, very, a poisonous culture because they produce very, very filthy lyrics that our people listen to. And it's no surprise that a lot of these rappers always drop dead. They drop dead like fruit flies every single year because this is the kind of lifestyle they perpetuate, right? So that's ultimately the judgment from the Heavenly Father of what happens to these people. But for someone like David, when he's upright in his heart, who walks in the ways of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, no harm, came upon him, right? He was tried, but he wasn't forsaken, right? Let's get, this one is one of my favorites. I just wanted to get this one. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 1. And it reads, "Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels and have not charity, I have become a sounding brass and a tingling cymbal." Verse 2. "And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith that could remove mountains and have not charity, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned and have not charity, it profit me nothing." So, this is just going to, Paul is explaining that, he can have all these different talents and gifts. And I think in the previous chapter it actually talks about, the different offices and different talents, a brother can have, like, a brother can have an ability to speak multiple languages, or ability to, be so gifted in the herbs, or even speaking well or reading well and captivating the audience. But if they don't have charity, what are they? Paul says he's nothing if he doesn't have any of these, if he doesn't exemplify that one character known as charity, right? I'm just going to read verse 3 again, and it says, though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, And though I give my body to be burnt, and have not charity, it profit me nothing. Charity suffereth long and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself or is puffed up, right? So even, that's a very, very good point, too, because, it wasn't like David had and showed that proud and arrogant sort of attitude, towards Mephibosheth, right? Because, at that point, he was king, he could have easily said, you can show some kind of arrogance, right? But, he didn't exemplify that, right? So even to the people who were, I don't want to say lower than him, essentially people who were like regular folks, like regular Israelites, and even the ones they were born with birth defects and so on and so forth, he didn't treat them as lesser than they were. He still exemplified that level of charity, loving kindness towards his fellow brethren, right? Right. And that is just part of the mercies of David, right, that was imparted onto Saul's grandson. But anyways, I want to leave it right here. I've gone on a little bit longer than I thought I should have. And how does this video be edifying? And one of the reasons I wanted to bring this out as well, because in times to come, especially during Jacob's trouble, and then when things start to go crazy in this society, when it starts to collapse, this is the sort of riches that that we're all gonna have, right? So anyways, these are just things to practice and keep in mind as well. Like the scriptures say that the things that are written before time are written for our learning, right? So anyways, I'll leave it there. I won't ramble on again. And I'd just like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us his truth. Till next time, I say Shalom.